Welcome to the game chat. Those were some big eyes, dude. Creepy big eyes. So
You gave the 3, 2, 1, and then nothing happened.
I'm mildly distracted because my son is back working at his job at Starbucks, and he just texted me. He said, let's see, do you want a Josiah made fresh fruit slushy type thing like a smoothie lemonade? And
Yeah,
I
I'll
was
take
like,
one.
yes, that's amazing. Like
Yeah, of course.
everything in me, like my body's kind of gyrating it right now. Like I need that right now. So
Yes.
if it comes in during the show, I'm just gonna have to dip out so I can, drink on this thing. So there we go. Let's introduce our guest. We have board game designer Scott Almes with us today. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Excited to
Yeah,
chat.
absolutely. So, what are your feelings on what my son calls a Josiah made fruit slushy type of thing?
I said go for it.
Okay.
I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds good.
Good. Sounds like you're in the right place, Scott.
Doesn't
So,
maybe sound super seasonal, but I mean, go for it. I mean,
that's
why not?
here's the thing. I think I'm over the pumpkin spice thing right now. I'll go for an apple caramel, whatever. But I definitely I can always go for a lemonade slush or some sort of thing. Yes.
fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You also made a good call. Apple is better than pumpkin. So
Oh, apple's so good.
So I want to throw it out there.
It's
100%.
so good. So I feel bad because I bought a multi-pack of coffee. It was like reduced at one of the places we shopped at, and it was a multi-pack, like 12 different coffees, and it was just little tester things. It was like makes like
Sure.
3 cups, and I was like, I need to check this out. I feel bad because I kind of stored the apple caramel one off to the side. I was like, I'll get to you last, playing favorites with my coffees. So
Welcome to Coffee Chat,
coffee chat.
Division of
Yeah.
Game Chat.
Yes. It's better
hate
than
coffee.
appetite. You hate coffee. You hate coffee. You hate bananas. What is your
Bananas.
problem?
Like a sane person.
Oh man, whatever. So
What are
we've
we
got,
actually talking about today?
yeah. So we're actually talking about press your luck games that give you a little bit of tension and a little bit of like, that sucks. I can't believe that just happened to me because I rolled those dice. So press your luck games is the topic of discussion tonight. Scott is going to be talking to us about this little game in a canister called Chicken from Keymaster Games. It is currently funding on Kickstarter. We'll have a link in the show notes. But we're going to talk all about those things. But let's start off with a intro question. And just know that the questions suck tonight because I was the only one who wrote them. Usually Isaac's the one who writes these things and I chime in.
It's been a busy weekend, right?
It was all on me. And so that's why tonight's show is going to be a bomb, except for our great guest. So
here we go. Low expectations. Let's start it off.
Exactly. So what thing do you look forward to most about the fall season? So we're it's a chilly 88 degrees here in Georgia. So it sucks. But what do you look forward to the most? What kind of rings in the fall for you?
Yeah. So we touched on like the apple seasons. That's awesome. Always apple cider season, like especially hot apple cider is just
for sure
amazing. But love the leaves change, just super fall traditional there. Like my house is built into a hillside, so like our main floor actually like looks right out into the canopy. So like those couple weeks when the leaves are changed, it's just like magic. So I love that period.
That's really, and it's like a snapshot of a moment too, because we have something called a fire maple out in front of our house that I planted a couple of years ago. And when the seasons change, when October hits, it turns bright red, like the whole thing's in flames, and it only lasts about 10 days and that's it. And so like it's half bare now. And Erin was looking out. She was like, I need to take a picture of the tree. I need to take a picture of the tree. And then this weekend she was like, missed it. Crap. So, yep. I would have to say mine is opening up the windows of the house. We live in Georgia, so it gets hot. It's unseasonably hot, like all the time. And so when we have nice fall, cool days, I love having multiple windows in the house. Just hearing birds and even street traffic. I just love having windows open in the house. So
I like that. I enjoy the cool weather, even though it's been kind of warm here also in Northwest Ohio. But sadly, one of my favorite things is watching football in the fall. And the sad part is, I'm a diehard, a lifelong Detroit Lions fan, and it's just we won yesterday, but it's disappointment after disappointment. Usually, it's my humility check for the week on Sunday afternoon when I watch the Lions fumble through literally the plays that they do. So I look forward to it. I enjoy watching it. No one else in my family watches football at all, so I kind of just it's my thing for a few hours on Sundays, and sometimes I finish early and go walk the dog because I can't watch it anymore. But I enjoy what I do get to watch.
As a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I can attest that it is the best and worst time of the year. So we were watching highlights yesterday, and I said, well, Jags finally won again. And Aaron was like, really? Really? And I was like, you don't have to be condescending. So
yeah, that's what my wife said about the Lions when she got home. So
totally
get it.
So best thing about fall, bird migration. I finally get to see some of some gorgeous ducks. That's awesome. So
I like it.
Yes. Bird migration. That's awesome. So, all right. So, Scott, quick question. What type of randomization do you like most in your games? You've got 3 choices. We're going with dice, spinner, or card pull. What is your favorite type of randomization in games?
Yeah, I feel like I have to go with dice just because like the tactile element, being able to like really like shake them up, you get that like big moment where you kind of like wait for your luck to hit that precise moment and then scatter them everywhere. The question, like whenever, so you shared this question ahead of time, and I was trying to rack my brain about like a good game that has a spinner as the randomizer. Like there's some classic old school games. Like the Game of Life has an awesome spinner. But yeah, I'd have to go with dice as the overall, because I mean you're not just going to sit there with your hand on a deck as that like moment of like, but being able to shake the dice like has that nice tactile element. So that's my call.
I put spinner on there because it's such a rare element to use, but I think when it's used well, it's kind of fun, So there was one day I'm going to write an article about it. There is a very unknown game called Strangers and Dangers from my childhood, and my brother and I played this game a lot. It was some sort of game that was made by it had to be some kind of political game or some kind of like agency made it to teach kids about like not going into white vans with men with candy, because that is literally what, like, don't play. One of the spaces is don't play on the broken glass playground. Do not go, don't take a shortcut to school through the sewers because there's a strange man in the sewers. Stuff like that. It's a very deeply uncomfortable game that I played a lot as a child, but it has a spinner. And so that's one of the ones that I remember distinctly. I would say a deck of cards. And the reason why is because if I know what is in that deck, I like being able to know my odds. I like knowing my percentages. Whereas like I have, sure enough, rolled a handful of dice and gotten all ones, even though it's very unlikely. So I'll go with a deck of cards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've got to agree. The spinner thing is interesting. I was thinking about that earlier today too. Outside the Game of Life, the kids when they were younger really liked the game Hi Ho Cheerio.
I hate that one.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It was not a game I enjoyed playing to any stretch of the imagination, but it was a game we played when the kids were super little and something to do. The other game I thought of that had a spinner is a little more hands-on, literally. It was Twister. Was the other game I thought of with the spinner, and past that I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't even think of like a hobby game that had any type of mechanic of a spinner involved. But I gotta go
something that we come back with. Maybe 2023, the year of the spinner.
Oh, I don't see it happening, but
I don't see it happening either. But let's if it happens, we claim that it happened here first. So
I love dice. I love dice games. I love getting my hands on dice. We'll talk about percentage with the next question here, but dice are my favorite thing, and I love, I especially love dice bag building as a combination, and that's my jam. So, well, Bob has entered the chat.
Nobody beats me at Hi Ho Cherry. Pax you face off. Let's go.
Oh boy, Pax you.
So somebody bring that copy of Hi Ho Cherry to Pax you, and Bob is going to beat you in it. So I'll put money on it. So. All right. So what percentage of luck is acceptable in your family gaming? And I want to stress the family gaming aspect, because I think that as you get into more hobby games, as you get into more like strategic games, I think that number tanks. But you're sitting around with the family, you're sitting around with kids, you're playing multi-generational games. What is a percentage that is acceptable of luck in your game?
Yeah. Definitely a good question. Definitely as it becomes more like multi-generational and like definitely getting kids in, like the number goes pretty high up. Because it's all about just being around the table at that point. So like for a family game, I'd even go as high as like 50-60% sometimes, because it's all about just being with each other, especially at like a large player count. Definitely not the threshold be good for like my gamer group, but yeah, I mean, have a hard time with a game like all the way to like 100% like LCR. That just not a single decision going around. But so I need to be able to change something. But like 50%, like could still have great family time with that.
Yep. Yeah, LCR is an interesting one, because my dad loves games that are just throw the dice, get what you get. Like he really enjoys not thinking. The more you have to think, the less likely he is to play it. So it's interesting. He'll bring LCR to the table anytime. He's on it all the time. But there's going to be a game that I share later in the show that he really fell in love with, because it is just chuck dice and see what happens. Very limited need to like overthink the thing. I would say 60-70% luck with my family gaming. If I'm playing with kids, if I'm playing with littler ones, I definitely don't care. You know, it's funny. I've got a friend and a wife who is very competitive. And so when they get competitive, they get hardcore, like name calling hardcore. And so for me, I'm just like, I lost so many games playing this weekend. I played Chicken this weekend. I played Get On Board this weekend. I played Scout. I lost so many games this weekend. And I'm totally fine with it, because I had an awesome weekend playing games.
You usually do. Oh,
yeah. So, gotcha. Yep. So,
yeah. We're going to talk about that in a second, Bob. So,
dice mitigation.
Stick around. I think the percentage kicks into, like we said, as far as who we're playing with. Family games, we play competitive stuff as a family, but I also have older kids. My wife is into playing heavier stuff. My parents will enjoy playing things like Roll For It or Vegas dice. But LCRs, whatever, it's fine. I don't want to play that, but I'll play Astro Trash with you, which is functionally LCR, but it's got a little bit more. I love the tactile aspect to it. Fun fact, it's actually the most viewed review on our page ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's like 1,000 searches a month for Astro Trash. I don't know why it keeps coming up. I don't even think it's in print anymore from the op.
And that's interesting, because like Astro Trash, I saw what it was, and that's immediately what I thought of LCR, and I'm like, whatever. And then when I saw that there was a Bob's Burgers game, and I saw it was a reskin of Astro Trash, I went from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows really fast.
But it works well, because they did that. They did a Mickey Mouse one, right? They slapped a
Mickey
theme
Mouse
on it,
food fight,
and it's easy, like you said. There's an amount of that. Let me spin, let me roll, let me make my move, and call it a day. Like I like Monopoly Gamer with the
Gamer Edition,
with the Mario Karts, right?
Mario Kart,
That's still just roll and hope for the best, right? There's a little bit of play in there too, but I enjoy the way that's played out, and I play that with kids all day, any day.
Yep. This is a good one. So Picomino is a great dice game. It has just enough choice, but plays quickly. So Adele actually gave us a copy of it. Heck Mech Deluxe is the version that she gifted our family, and it's a game that I taught the kids last year, and we love it. So it's dice rolling and making decisions on whether or not you're going to fight for that higher number, and collecting worms, and it's really cool. Like, really cool game. So
yeah, no, that's a great game. I love that game.
yeah. So next question is, what game stands out to you in the way that it allows you to mitigate dice rolls? What's either a mechanic or a game or something that you can point to that I really like the way that game does that?
Yeah. It's tricky because there's so many ways that games address. So I'm going to use kind of like a fundamental good dice design, I think, because there's a lot of the games we just talked about, like Domino. I mean, I would even put Chicken in this category, where the luck of the dice is like a core part of the game. So the mitigation isn't super heavy. Even it does allow some re-rolls, which is a very traditional way of ways of mitigating your luck, where you have a choice of maybe altering your dice pool in some ways. But for especially the more hobby games, one of the things I love when just core in the design is that every dice face has something you can do with it, or there's no bad roll. And I love to use the game Las Vegas for this way, where when you roll the dice there, a 1 is no worse or better than a 6 per se in the game. It's all about you roll the dice and you place it in the different areas, and just the way they're weighted. You're not just trying to roll high, you're not just trying to roll low. Everything has a potential value for it to place it. So being packed into the design that every die face has some kind of strategic use, some kind of use, that there's just no bust roll right off the beginning.
Yeah.
I love seeing that just baked in.
That's cool. So Bob says Alien Frontiers, the greatest dice mitigation placement game that exists. So he is being pretty specific there. So Chad Elkins, welcome to the game chat. So I would say it's funny Chad showed up pre-Speak of the Devil. Three Sisters. I was teaching Three Sisters this weekend. And so Three Sisters, the compost mechanic, and it's in a lot of different games. What was I thinking about? Harvest Dice has it also, where you're saving up, and then the things that you've saved up allows you to spend those to change the pips on the dice. So the way Three Sisters does it, you're saving up compost. That compost, you're able to change the pips on the dice based on the compost that you use. So I can use 3 pieces of compost to change 3 pips. Change it down, up or down 3. I love being able to make that decision to save up for a future turn and then spend it as needed. Even something like Super Mega Lucky Box does it with the little lightning bolts. I've been in so many situations where I discounted the need for lightning bolts, and then the end of the game is just hot disaster because I'm not able to check. I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, I'll just put the cap back on my pen because I'm not going to be able to check anything off for the next 3 rounds.
No 4 for me.
Yeah. So, but it's all about the earning and then the spending. Not that you automatically get it. I enjoy being able to earn and then spend those things. So,
Chad coming in with the hot takes as always.
Yeah, Scott Almes is the coolest. Not sure what he's doing on the show. Hey, we are trying to get the best and the brightest, and somehow we have conned him into it.
We're working our way up. We started with
we are.
Yeah,
Chad. We started with Chad Elkins. Started at the bottom of the barrel.
Started at the bottom. Now we're here. I don't even remember the question anymore.
Dice mitigation.
Yes, dice mitigation. So I was thinking about a couple different games. I actually brought it up in a chat this afternoon with a couple guys. And one of the ones he pointed out to me, I don't have the physical copy of it, but I love playing in BGA. I want the full deluxe Kickstarter edition of his Dice Hospital. I love the way that Stan. Hospital. Yeah, I love the way
my copy's unplayed. Sucks.
I love it. It's so good. So good. I love it. I love the smoothness. I love how all the dice have a home, they have a place, they have something where they can go. Like you said, with Three Sisters, there's opportunity. Just slides the Starbucks in.
It's amazing. Thank you, Josiah.
While you're enjoying that. So
myself.
I mentioned dice bag building is my favorite. I'm not going to include it on my list of the games I'm thinking of, but for our top 5, but Dice Masters is one of my, like, I played that competitively. We've talked about it a little bit. I played it at the top of that game, and that game is all get the right dice, roll it, hope for the best. How do you mitigate? How do you spend the energy? How do you buy what you need to? And there's one card in that game that lets you spend one energy to reroll all your dice, and it's Parallax, one of the DC super villains. And man, if you didn't, like, I always went back, and I'm guilty of that. I don't do the math and go, well, if I just saved this and did this, I'm like, all right, spend an energy, reroll them all. They're at the craps table just going nuts. And I'll never forget. It's on YouTube somewhere when they were for the World Championship.
Your claim to fame
was up to. Yeah, this guy's like, well, he's gonna roll again. Why is he okay? He's rolling again. It was that, like, that mitigation. Like, I was like, okay, I got to be able to get something better, right? And I love when there's that opportunity to be like, okay, all right, I'm gonna try one more time. I'm gonna push my luck. I'm gonna try it. And oftentimes I push further than I should. I'm doing that with Snap right now, right? Like, I'm gonna go. I can win these 8 cubes and then lose 8 cubes.
Yep, that definitely happens. So it happens a lot. So got a couple comments in the game chat. Can't believe you brought Scott on, but haven't discussed the cool solo games he makes for Button Shy. Wink. Yes, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Chicken, but also all the awesome stuff that he makes.
All the things.
Bob, love Alien Frontiers. Chad said this, one of the earliest games that got me into the hobby. It was the first board game I backed on Kickstarter too. Wow.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's a fun one to bring up. Like, that's Kickstarter awesome. Was so different back then.
Yeah. Like, what year was that? Alien Frontiers?
Oh, that would have been like 2013, 14, maybe somewhere around there.
Okay. Alien Frontiers, 2010.
Wow.
Really that far back?
According to the Board Game Geek, it listed as 2010.
Wow.
Interesting. I think the first Kickstarter I ever got was in 2014, probably. I got a little, because I didn't have a lot of money to spend. I got a little bag game, Fishy Tactics was my very first one, and it's this game about
classic.
Have you played Fishy Tactics?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, this is a game from the UK, very, very small publisher, super nice guy. So it's just a little cloth mat, and you've got these fish, and I bought it primarily because of the kids. And so this boat is going along, and you're rolling the dice and moving the boat, and you're picking up colored fish, but your fish are worth different amounts of points. Pretty cool little kids game. So anyway, so update on the drink situation. My son just brought me this. It's freaking delicious. I don't know what it is. He made it.
Looks like dragon fruit to me.
That's what I was going to say. Yep,
it's lemony and it's like slushy and dude, it is. I'm gonna have to turn this mic off every once in a while. Getting all choked up. So. All right. Anyway, on to talking with Scott. Scott, let's talk about a Kickstarter that you currently have on through Keymaster Games. This is Chicken. I have a copy of Chicken right here. Chicken is a pressure luck game. Hence the reason why we're talking about pressure luck games. All about escaping foxes and pressing your luck with these really cool custom dice. And you've got this mat. This little cloth mat that it's your chicken coop that's holding your dice in here, and you're rolling to get chickens, to get points, and keeping away from foxes. Tell us a little about the game and how this kind of came about.
Yeah, so we're talking about like family games. So Chicken definitely came across as just my desire to create more like family games, like something that love talking about. That I'm a game designer, love sharing the hobby and things like that. Like, but only so many of my games are like great for just introducing everybody. So I kind of wanted something else that I could just play with anyone in my extended family, anyone who just said like, "Hey, oh, I heard you play games. Like, what should I pick up?" Like something I could just recommend to any level of gamer they are, any family, if they have kids or things like that. So I was really trying to give for that super sweet, super simple game that some ways I call it like a cabin game, just one like a bunch of family together. They can just play it on like a rainy day and just have a blast. So uh, love push your luck games, press your luck games, whatever way you want to go with them. My first game in that genre, Martian Dice, was the first game actually I published. So was just super fond of those kind of dice games. And when I approached Chicken, well, one of the kind of tweaks for the game is that a lot of dice games or press your luck games, like um, it's very vertical the way like the luck goes, where you're pressing your own luck for as far as it goes. Like I'm choosing when to stop, and I'm just feeling the tension myself.
Right.
With Chicken, one of the twists on it is that whenever you roll the dice might expand. Whenever you roll, if you get any eggs, you actually add stuff to the dice pool, and then that decision gets passed over to the left. So like it has this ever growing pool of dice that eventually someone's gonna rather bust or chicken out. So it almost has like a hot potato feel, where like instead of just I'm just rolling a bunch all the way through. It actually like goes around the table, which keeps everyone involved a lot more, and it just has that like building tension as this like increasingly risky dice pool goes around. It has a cool like social element where people are like egging people on. I have to say
Yeah.
that legally,
Literally.
it's in my contract. Um, to just be like, hey, you can roll it, you won't bust, you can do it. Roll all 12 dice. There's no risk in that at all, and then watch them get too many foxes and bust. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, really going for that like family aspect, something that plays with a large player count that really just keeps everyone involved, and it's really built around that like hot potato press your luck court system. And just love how it feels around the table.
Yeah.
It's been such a hit.
It's such an interesting game because like we played a lot this weekend. We had our nephews out visiting from South Carolina, and they were coming out. They hung out with us for the weekend and had such a great time with it. We played 7 players and had a great time just seeing how people would just get slightly ahead, and then everybody would have to push a little harder to catch up with them. And I'm sitting all the way in the back. I'm sitting, I think, 3 points. Everybody's in the teens. And I'm sitting there, and somebody makes the mistake of passing me just a handful of dice. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm just screaming and throwing dice everywhere. I got like five foxes. Like I didn't even come close.
Yeah.
I think I ended with a total of 5 points for that game, while somebody else hit 25, which is the max. But it's so crazy because we've seen some wild swings, and it's fitting for the game because it takes 15 minutes. A game of Chicken is 15-20 minutes, even at the max player count. And once you finish, you just want to say, let's do it again. In fact, we did a live stream. We were doing not a live stream. We did a recorded video on our YouTube channel of Chicken, just to kind of show the mechanics. And of course, we got a rule wrong, as Ryan does. And so I thought you could re-roll as many times as you want. You can only re-roll once. But one of the things that we realized was, as soon as we finished, before I could even get another word out of my mouth, let's go again. I was like, okay, let's go again. And so we immediately played another game, and that's how it's been every single time we play Chicken.
Love it.
So
I think Bob played that with you too, didn't he? He tried
it. Yep. So Bob said Chicken's super fun. The Kickstarter's being run great. The price point is perfect. Deluxe offerings includes a poop emoji meeple, which is my absolute favorite. So
It is factual.
yeah.
I mean, that's gonna get backers, right? There's somebody going, this will be my first Kickstarter because of the poop emoji.
That's right.
Hey,
That's
it's a farm. Sometimes it's dirty, man.
Yeah, that's the one I play as every time.
I love it.
So,
that's your character.
That's my poop emoji character. So, Scott, you're more than just the guy who created Chicken. You have tons and tons of games. I looked on BGG. I think you have 171, I think, credited. I'm sure some of those are like expansions and stuff, or single cards that are attributed to you. But like, you have tons of games out there. One thing that you're known for is the Tiny Epic games that you've created. So tell us a little about like some of the methodology behind like creating a really cool, fully fleshed out game in a small, tiny package that you can take on the go.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Tiny Epic's like the biggest series I'm working on, and a little bit about.
I might need to tell Bob something that he doesn't know. So Bob is one of the other two people that write with us on One Board Family.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, can we get a Harbor expansion? I can play that game all day, every day. Bob, I have the Harbor expansion. They sent it to us before TMG went out of business. I have that. So
what?
He didn't know that I had that. So
yeah.
All right.
Anyway. Yeah, it's out there. You can find it if you dig for it a little bit. It got lost up, but
I have a copy of it. So Bob, come see me.
Yeah, or if Bob, you have trouble tracking one down or something like that, I might be able to hook you up. I know a guy.
Oh, nice, nice.
It's me.
He's got a box of Harbor expansions sitting next to him. I was hoping somebody would ask.
But yeah, so the Tiny Epic game. So whatever we decided to turn into a series based off like the success of Tiny Epic Kingdoms, like we really wanted to stay true to that small box all the way through. And so one thing is that I feel like a full-time designer all the time, but I actually still do have a day job as well. And my day job, I'm a product innovation specialist, so product manager for an innovation lab. And one of the things we talk about in the innovation space is always what's called like the beautiful constraint. So all the amounts of creativity you get from finding the constraints that kind of force you to be creative. And one of the things with Tiny Epic is we're kind of dedicated to that small price point, that box size, which as we're trying to make these big games, it's always challenging us to rethink about how can components be used? How can we produce this? Like if I have like this super exciting mechanic that I'm really want to put into a game, but it's going to take like 120 cards. Like I'm not going to put 120 cards into a Tiny Epic game. So like it really challenges that, like having to work around it. And whatever comes down to that constraint, that's really what like spurs the creativity for it. And it was all a couple other decisions that kind of has kept the series pretty exciting. Is that one is that we did not want to reskin like all the games. Like it would have been pretty easy just to do Tiny Epic Kingdoms and then the same mechanics for everyone. We really dedicated ourselves to making sure that every box has a reason for people to buy it too. So like we don't want any of them to feel the same. A little point of pride is that I want like every Tiny Epic game to be someone's favorite Tiny Epic game. I think for the most part that's true. Like even the ones like Galaxies is by far our best seller. It's one of the top ones as well. But even the ones that don't get as much buzz as Galaxies, like I've gotten letters that says that their favorite Tiny Epic game is the one they play. So like that's another goal that we have as we're putting them. And those are always like driving us to be really challenge ourselves, creative. So like every time we have a Kickstarter coming up, we're like, all right, so this is going to be someone's favorite Tiny Epic game. So let's really like challenge ourselves to make that happen.
I love it.
You actually have a Tiny Epic game coming up later this month in November, Tiny Epic Crimes. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So this will be so it's set in like almost like a noir time period with mobsters and there's some speakeasies and things like that, but you're trying to solve a mystery. There's been a murder in the city that there's two play modes. One's semi-cooperative and one's cooperative. You get to choose which one you play. And it's really cool. We have some new mechanics we've not tried out. One includes a time track, which will be the first time that we've kind of taken that for a spin. And then also just with how the clues are shown to the players is using like a red reveal system as well. So kind of those like old school mechanics. We pull that into the deduction framework. So I think it should be a pretty fun one. We've not pulled deduction into any Tiny Epic games before, so I really think this one will be really fresh. And like I said, we're always trying to do something different each one, challenge ourselves with each box, and this one will feel nice and different too.
That's awesome.
So Adele asked earlier, solo gaming and talking about constraints. You've made multiple Button Shy games, and so that's limited to a small number of cards and multi-use cards, and trying to figure out how to best use those. How have you grown in that? From the first Button Shy game that you've done till now.
Yeah. So that's been a super fun series as well. A little bit of kind of trend you can kind of see with my catalog is whenever I found like a sweet spot with a publisher, I love just to continue to work with them and build out a series. So like very much so with Gamelin, we've been working on our Tiny Epic series for a while, and just to grow that brand presence and things like that. And Simply Solo, which is the series I did with Button Shy, is another very strong one there. So definitely has that same constraint, even more so. I only have 18 cards to play with. I am constantly impressed by what Button Shy can put out and what the quality they have and how different all their like 18 card games can play. Like they just had one come out maybe about 6 months ago, a la carte, which is their like worker placement card game that is just brilliant in how they were able to work it in. But yeah, it's that same thing like where the games that become Button Shy solo games, my first draft is never 18 cards. Like I wish it was, but they're normally maybe like 30, 36. One was even like 60 at first, and then I just found out ways to pare it down, really get into the essence of it, which has been really, really fun. So it's they've been such a fun publisher to work with. Jason over there, he is tireless. I do not know how he finds the time to release a new game every month with the quality that he does.
Yeah. Some of them are fantastic. It's so funny. We were on a cruise ship in Alaska, and we went to one of the cruise. They had a cruise on the cruise ship. Different days they had a board game activity, and so it was like a 2-hour block where you can come play board games. And we knew what to expect. That it would be a bunch of copies of Monopoly and Scrabble and Dominoes. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So we brought our own games, and we taught an entire table full of people how to play Long Shot, the dice game, and they fell in love.
Oh, yeah.
But it was cool because there were other gamers on the ship, and somebody actually taught me, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's black and white, and it is... it's a game about your two killers, and so you have a hand of cards, and you're deciding.
Revolver Noir, I think it is.
Revolver Noir, that's it. Yeah, it was so much fun. We played like 5 games back to back. It was really, really good.
Yeah,
so
it's awesome.
And that's like such a great example. Like that's like it has like a spy versus spy feeling.
Yeah, it does.
And like how I am baffled by how they got that feeling of a game in 18 cards. I mean. Inspirational, and that game's awesome.
Now Rick asked, we have a podcast called Will It Game. We've not had you on the podcast, but we will. This is a formal invite. We pitch terrible board games to people who are industry professionals that later regret their appearance on our show. And he pitched Tiny Epic Characters, and it's about bad rip-off characters in Times Square trying to make money. Think of the shoddiest Elmo costume that you could ever find, and a guy who just formally got out of jail being inside of it. That is what this game is. I'm sure that you've heard this podcast, and this is currently in development. Rick was just wanting to know at what point of development this is in.
Very early stage.
Very early stage.
Very early. There's your answer, Rick.
No, I love that concept for a podcast because, like, what game designers are actually best at is making terrible games. We just only talk about the ones that actually end up being good. So, like, our best thing is just creating piles of terrible games and hope no one sees those, and only talk about the ones that actually get published. So.
Wow, we've got 72 episodes. What do we have? So that's 144 terrible games.
You have to have one or two gems in there.
Game designers.
Yeah,
man, it's amazing.
Yeah, you have the next ticket to ride in that pile. You have to go back through it.
Yeah, and it's funny because as we were talking, Ryan and I were talking this week about having you on, and the Tiny Epic was the first thing that came to mind. This is what you're known for, and I went on BGG, and I'm like, okay, I know you have other games, but I think designers sometimes get pulled into one, like you're the Tiny Epic guy. So I'm like, okay, which games have I played? And then I start going, oh shoot, I didn't realize Dicey Peaks was yours. I enjoy that game. Best treehouse ever, or greatest. Best treehouse, greatest treehouse.
Best treehouse ever, yeah.
Best treehouse ever. I love best treehouse ever. It's on my small game shelf. I haven't played it in probably a year or so, but it's a quick, easy. Like we love playing that one. And I think it's funny as you kind of mentioned getting into one design and kind of building around a company that you enjoy. It's neat to me to be able to go through as we have people on here and go, oh man, I didn't realize that was your game. I love that game.
Yeah.
So.
It's good.
Oh,
so let's get into our top 5. Why don't you introduce this one, Isaac?
I can do that. So we are talking about push your luck games, and so that's push your luck in a variety of ways. Might be dice, might be cards, might be the decisions you make, might be the way you grab things out of a bag. As always, these are 5 games that we enjoy in this category or arena. Doesn't mean it's our definitive top 5 ever, but it's the 5 we thought, hey, push your luck. This would be what I'd get out if somebody asked me to, pull one out of my collection. So, as always, we do start with our guest. So,
interesting fact. Best Treehouse Ever was the very first game that we ever gave away as a reverse birthday gift to Patreon donors. We have on our anniversary of our website in June every year, we give our Patreon donors a free board game that we really love, and that was actually the very first one we ever gave.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, fun fact for that game before I start talking about my number 5 is that there's a card in there, the board game room, and that is actually based off a childhood picture of me and my 2 brothers. So
that's cool.
Little Easter egg in that one.
I love it.
So press your luck games. So starting off with number 5. So number 5, my choice was Raw. So the push your luck, pulling out the tiles, choosing when to stop, like that tension for that. That's super excited. I mean, I'll call out your hat, the 25th Century Games. I'm pretty sure they're the ones doing the reprint of it. That looks super awesome. I backed it to the deluxe because they have like wooden tiles in that one. It looks amazing. But
the new version's incredible.
It's so good.
It looks so good. And did Tool do the art too? It looks pretty.
I was so sad to send that back. I'm like, you sure you need this back, Chad?
Yeah, we had to pass it on. I was like, why?
So good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
Very cool. My number 5 is Quartz. This is a little known game from Passport Games. You are a dwarf, and you're mining gems out of this cave. This is a super backstabby game, very mean, very hateful, and it's out of print. Future versions of this game came out. The 7 Dwarfs, what is it? The Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs game came out based off of this, and Friday the 13th Horror at Camp Crystal Lake. The only problem is that the rules changed slightly, and I don't think they're as good of a game as the original. Quartz, number 5.
Fair enough. Quacks. Good, good choice there as well. I think I'm going to go with a dice chucking game that's been my dice master substitution, kind of what we've moved to more. It's Yahtzee, and it's Yahtzee, Battle Yahtzee, right? Anything dice thrown. I've got the giant box. I've got the individual player boxes because I wanted a simple one instead of hauling the big box around to be able to take these somewhere. I love dice thrown. I am always a sucker for just one more roll. I love the mitigation and the cards with this game. Like there's opportunities to change things around, to change your opponent's stuff around when they think they got you. Like, and you can't go wrong with everything Marvel, right? Like I love all the characters. I love that it's original artwork, right? From Manny, right? Who did these?
Manny.
So we didn't get just recycled Marvel character stuff. We got some brand new fun art, like Can't go wrong with Dice Throne.
That is just a little hint. Tomorrow, our holiday gift guide drops. You may see that game on that holiday gift guide.
That'd be a good choice.
So what's number 4 for you, Scott?
So number 4, Formula D or Formula Day, depending on what version you have. So super awesome dice in this game. Each instead of doing the traditional like D20 and things like that, they all have unique numbers on them. And always pushing your luck to see, am I able to keep up this speed and get around this corner without burning up my car? Super easy to get into. Plays, I'm pretty sure, up to 8 players. I mean, it's sports.
I think
pretty
10.
big group of it. 10 players.
10.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, we ran a Formula D league at our work.
Bob's all over it.
Bob is the current reigning champion because COVID killed our league. So we ran a Formula D league during lunch. We had a 1-hour block of time that we took pretty much every other week. And for 10 weeks, we played Formula D and rushed through a 1-hour game with like 6 to 8 people. And we had a full league with 2 different divisions because we had so many guys involved with it. It was just a lot of fun. Fantastic game. I actually bought it for work, and we were going to split the cost of it at the time because it was out of print. And after playing my very first game of it, I told the guys that I was not going to allow them to pay for any of it, and I would be keeping it at my house and not at work because I was addicted to it. So
that's awesome.
Formula D is fantastic. Deep Sea Adventure, Cutthroat. It ends friendships. Me and Rick almost ended our friendship very early on with Deep Sea Adventure, playing this at 2:00 in the morning. Deep Sea Adventure is where you are diving deep down into the depths of the ocean and you're trying to take treasure back up with you. Problem is you're running out of air, and the greedy people at the table want to run out all the air so that you die outside the little submarine. It is nasty little game, but it is so much fun and the kids love it. It's the game that goes with us almost everywhere we travel. So
they don't even have it small box anymore. I don't think. I think it only.
Yeah, I've seen the bigger
Gen Con
version.
It's just the bigger version. Yeah, I thought about.
I saw the bigger version at Target had it. So,
yeah. Yeah, it's good. Speaking of pushing your luck and your friends encouraging you to push even further and harder, I've got to go with Clank, specifically Clank in Space is my favorite of the Clank series. I'm a sucker for all things sci-fi related. I love the references. I love the characters. I love the modular board of this. It's such a fun step in the direction of saying, I had a game I like, let me make it a little better, right? And I feel like that's what this does. It's like when we had Danny on here, right? And he talked about Ghost Love Candy 2. He said it gave him a chance to make some things he wanted in the original they didn't get to do. I feel like that's what they did with this. And I highly recommend people start there if they're interested in Clank.
Clank in Space is a good one. I like that one better. Aaron likes the original better. So interesting.
Rarely to say, but Aaron's wrong.
Yeah. So she actually loves just general Clank and then some of the other things. What about Catacombs? That's the new one with the board that is random. Have you guys tried? No.
Mm-mm.
Scott, have you tried that one?
I have not. I've actually I've played original Clank. I have not played in Space, but now I feel like I have to give that a shot. I've also heard good things about the Legacy one too.
Legacy one is fantastic.
Haven't played it. Love to, but have not.
Yep. All right. Number 3, Scott.
So number 3 is a game called Celestia. Not sure if you had a chance to play this one. Everyone's in an airship together and you're adventuring through this like fantasy land. And everyone has a hand of cards. And everyone's contributing to the challenges as you go through the land. And you're trying to get the airship as far as you can go. But at some point, the airship's going to crash. So you try to want to get as far as you can to collect what points you can and bail out before it crashes. It can be a little mean. You can easily get stuck inside and be the one like stuck and unable to jump out. There's a good combination of both dice and cards that play to the mechanic as well. Basically, what happens is when you reach a challenge, you roll the dice, and anything you're not able to make with the dice, you have to play cards to make up the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that chance that the dice can get you there, but you know how that is with push your luck games.
That's really good. Yeah.
But Great One plays up to 6 players, really shines at like that 5 to 6, like at the top of the range is where it's really the best. So
nice.
love that
That's
one.
awesome.
Also, the airship's like 3D as well.
Yeah.
It's a cardboard construct that you put together.
I have seen it. I've never played it though. So
yeah. I'm big on product design, those little tactile elements, and it does it super well.
That's awesome. Best at 2 players. Canopy has a clever peek or pass draft mechanism.
So
Canopy
good.
is so good. So
yeah, love that 2-player.
Next up, we've got Port Royal. So Adele mentioned this earlier. Port Royal is such a good game. This is actually one of my son's favorite card games. He really loves this one. This is one that is so easy to teach players for the first time, whether they're new gamers or experienced gamers. It's a really, really fun game. You are basically flipping over cards to make a harbor, and you have ships that come out. If you get multiple ships of the same type from the same land, they bust and you don't get anything. It's really cool because you can kind of force people to, what people need to complete sets and to score points, and you kind of roll out just the right things and then be like, I know you need that, and then they have to pay you because it's on your turn and it's in your harbor, so you end up having to you end up making money off the other players at the table, which is really nice. So yep. Chad mentioning that Gaming with Sidekicks hat, is that new?
It is. It is a new hat. What's funny is if you look, it just says Gaming Sidekick. There's no with in there.
Okay.
I sent it out and they sent me the print preview and they just had the word with over here on the side of the hat.
Wow.
They're like, well, we can't fit it all together. I'm like, just leave it off. No one will notice.
That's fine.
So it was a test. It was a test hat. We'll see. I don't know. I don't love it as much as my 25th century hat. So, but it's good. It works. We're at number 3 here.
Number 3.
I'm gonna go with
cheese big box edition. Chad, what are you talking about? Are you mumbling again?
For Port Royal.
Ryan, you get that
Port Royal with cheese. He's making a Pulp Fiction reference.
Oh,
I like it.
I am going to curl this game up onto the table. This is still my wrapped deluxe edition of this. I love this game. I have the basic and the deluxe, and that's the Giants Wonderlands War that I had to go in on the Kickstarter for. After getting the basic as a review copy, I had to buy this. I had to get all the extras for it. I absolutely love it. Has that Quacks same feel to it, but I love the combat. I love the on table stuff. I love the happy mess that the game is on the table. There's just so much going on, and just such a good game. And that's it's a push your luck. I'm constantly going in that bag. I can go just a little more and get you. And instead of just competing with myself, competing against you on that track is a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
I've played it, Chad.
I have not, because Bob has the copy for our website.
It's my second copy.
Bob, we need to play that this weekend.
What are you doing, bro?
What are you doing? Number 2, Scott.
So my number 2 is Quacks of Quedlinburg. I don't know how it's actually pronounced.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
That's close enough.
I think it's lost in time.
It's Quacks.
It's Quacks, and it's it's utterly fantastic. Like it's one of the ones like got the geek bits for bag pulling game, always trying to pull up, but not enough to actually burst or get your potion to burst. It has several different levels of like complexity, so you could play it like just kind of like a casual plus game all the way to like a little bit more for your gamers too. So it has like a lot of variability in the game. But it hits that push your luck mark so much. Like you always want to pull one more chip, and it's always a bad idea, but you want to do it every way. It is just so fun. I love that game.
Nice. Quacks at number 2. Scott's losing some cool points here. That might be my number 1. Interesting.
Chad, I'm pretty sure chicken's your number 1, so that's out there. So
yeah, and Jason put there with the herb witches that game's great. with that.
I don't have the herb witches. So
yeah, I really enjoy it with that.
It's on my wish list still. So my number 2 is Rallyman GT. It is the game that I learned how to play on BGA. Bob taught me this game on BGA during COVID, and I had to have this game, and it was like we were out of town, and I was like, I need to own this game. So we went to a board game shop. I just walked in. I was like, do you have Rallyman GT? They were like, yes, we have one copy. I was like, yes. And so I bought it and traveled all the way back from Florida with this copy, playing it as often as I can. Love this game. It's a racing game that is you can plan, but when the dice don't go your way, it sucks. And so it is so good. It is probably my second favorite racing game.
Behind which
tough.
game?
It's tough. I have to say Formula D, because I've played that game about 85 times, and I still enjoy Formula D, and I have tons of memories associated with that game now.
It's fair.
So
there's some that were on my short list. Ryan always has a nice compact list of 5. I always list like 20 games, and then I kind of pare it down as we're going. Or I hear like, oh, somebody already said raw. Somebody already said, you said those. I don't have to say them. So I actually looked this up. This was actually my first Kickstarter. 2-player Pressure Luck. It's in the Clubhouse expansion box, but that's bottom of the 9th. There's a 2-player Pressure Luck. Baseball's not my jam, but I really enjoy this game. I enjoy the bottom of the 9th feel to it, right? The pressure, the back and forth. I love the style of this. I mean, Dice hate me to put this out. Is it's just a fun little 2-player. If you love baseball, it's definitely your jam. And if you just like a good 2-player head-to-head push your luck, you'll enjoy the reveal of, what did I pick? What did you pick? I really like that.
Nice. All right, number 1. What you got, Scott?
So not going the route where it's like a multi-way tie between Chicken, Martian Dice, Tiny Epic Quest, Dicey Peaks, things like that. So not going that route. You're talking about game you played like 85 times. So mine is so I have Diamant, also Ink and Gold, whatever version you have. I feel like just pure press your luck game.
Yeah.
One, I think probably a trend here is that I love press your luck games that handle a large group, because you just really get that extra energy around the players around the table. This one holds, I'm pretty sure, 8 players. And just that tension of going deeper and deeper into the temple. And if you last a little bit longer than everyone, you can get so much extra gems, but it's always a bad decision, because but there's always the chance. And we have, the cards are worn on this one. The box is like getting ragged. My family loves this game. I love this game. My game group loves this game. I played it so much. Love it.
That's cool.
It's so good. We played a ton on BGA. Such a fun, and screaming at each other online.
Oh yeah.
Colorado's another one we play a ton online as well.
Good. That is a great one too.
Yeah. So I would have to go with my number 1 is being Strike. It is the most accessible game that I have on our game shelf. We have taught this game to probably 40, 50 people at least. It is just a bowl full of dice. We've taken this to Christmas parties. We've taken this to family cookouts. We've taken this to backyard pool parties. We've taken this all over the place. And Strike comes out, it hits the table, and people are gathered around the table. People are screaming, people are yelling, people jump up, jump out, somebody else takes their place. It's so easy to get lost in this game for an hour, 2 hours, with a big group of people or family. Strike is wild in the way that it plays, and it is nothing but luck. It is. This is, when we were talking about percentage of luck, this is like 90% luck. But it is a lot of fun, because anybody can play. I've had a 2-year-old beat me before. A 2-year-old around Christmas beat all of us. She would go Just throw the die in there. It's like, how is she winning? She's winning. Why?
I love it.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's such a fun game. Highly recommend. If you don't have it, it's one of those ones that kind of like in coming into the hobby and being in it for a little bit, I'd see people talk about it. I'm like, what is it? It's just a bowl with dice. Yeah. Okay, whatever. But man, what a great game to pick up.
It is. Chad, they sell a special edition for the people who have your ailment. It's like a deeper bowl, and it's got some guards on the side. It's the equivalent of bumpers.
Bumper
it's the equivalent of bumpers in bowling. So
bumper
it's
strike.
Real good. So, and then Bob, but a 2-year-old beating you is commonplace, Ryan. That's very, very true. When the 2-year-old beat me in Santorini, I got real pissed.
My number 5 is going to be similar to what you're saying, Scott, about having a game that just gets a ton of play with a lot of people around the table. It's quick, it's easy, it's always a good end of the night, plays up to 7. We almost finish with this game every time we have a game night when it's like, I'll play something quick. What do you got? I'm like, how about a little no thanks? And what a great game. I got this old man version of it this year at Gen Con with the bigger cards. I've got my regular copy is so, like you said, tattered and beaten, and we play this on BGA a ton as well, but I love that the cards are huge, so they're easier to see across the table. There's always the one person, it was me the last time we played, if I'm being honest, last Thursday night, who gets just the crappy pulls and starts tanking it for everybody else. Like, oh, you need the 17? Cool, I'm losing, so I'm going to take your 17. So we get very snarky with this game. But no thanks is such a staple, easy, everyone can play it. I love this one.
It's good.
So good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool.
I have a Z-Man. I think it was the Z-Man edition that came out, and it's pretty tattered. I mean, that is such a good. And it has 2 rules.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's so simple, so easy.
We forgot to tell you, Scott, we usually end the show with what we've been playing. So if you want to share something that you've been playing, for anybody looking for Pressure Luck games, there are 15 Pressure Luck games that you can check out right now. And these are great choices. So no matter whose list you pick from, you're going to get a great time.
My game was way over there. I had to reach.
So Scott, do you have anything you've been in lately?
Yes, it's been a fair amount of prototypes. This is just getting some Kickstarters ready. But so one non-prototype I got to the table, played Viticulture, and actually with Tuscany for the first time. I've not had a chance to explore that. Oh yeah, I was very impressed by it. I mean, Stonemaier, always great production values for it. One thing that consistently impresses me with that game is just how it has a lot to it, but everything feels logical. All the way through, it just makes sense. The theme just intertwines with the mechanics super well. That whenever you're explaining it, even though there's a lot of steps to make your wine and sell them and things like that, it just flows and makes sense all the way through. So I had a lot of fun doing it. It was a great game.
So good.
That's awesome. I have obviously been playing a lot of Chicken. I told Scott that I've played Chicken 40 something times now. I still love playing it. It's real good. The very first week we played it, we actually played. We brought it with us on a little vacation weekend with some friends, and it was very well received and had a lot of fun with it. So I've been
Ryan, you're taking mine. Duh.
We can both share it.
Go ahead.
Put it up too. You can put it up too. Oh, my brain. Not gonna lie, this box is ridiculous. Let me open this thing for you. So first of all, you got this little flap right there. There we go. We got this right here. I will not bust that seal. I'm being very careful about that seal because it's so classy. And then how do you get this out? I'm totally confused. Oh, you just push right here. And there it is. So
bada bing.
Yeah.
I moved my sticker in so that I didn't lose it.
Oh, okay. Yep, that works. It opens up like that. Everything's inside the box. Inside the flap is this sweet little 3-pager. It is a very, very cool design box. The game's a lot of fun. My nephew could not stop. My nephew's 17 years old, could not stop playing this game. He was like, Want to play it again?
That's
Want
fun.
to play it again? Play it again? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we played this 3 or 4 times over the weekend. Everybody had a great time with it. So, yep.
Yeah, that's one of my main games I've been playing. Recently, we also had a chance to, and I don't think I shared this last time, get the new Sorcerer's Arena expansion to the table. My son and I played that a few times this last week.
Yep.
The thrills and chills. Love Jack Skellington, so I was happy to be able to get that. I love where that game is going. It's just such a fun little skirmish game. So, and like you said, my brain was fun. Also, the first glow in the dark box cover I've ever had.
Awesome.
So it's pretty neat. So Chad, there's your shout outs. So
we'll take our $25 each.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna have to pick up a copy of that. My nephew would love that game. I mean, also like mentioned, like I'm a product guy. Like first and foremost, a lot of times like that box is like
the box
designed all the way through.
It's like, so much fun to open the box every time. And my wife pointed out that the front has just a tiny magnet. That's all it is.
Tiny, just enough.
Tiny magnet. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. I was like, it just looks so perfect. And then she's like, I love the magnet on the front. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. So
So as a product guy, what do you think of the box, like the I'm trying to think. It's like that, like the magnet boxes that kind of the lid folds over. Some of the small box games have been doing that recently.
Yeah.
I really like it because I feel like they're very satisfying. Because I think I believe like whenever you approach the game, like your experience starts like from just holding the box and opening the box. Like it. Yeah. We played. I mean, I think everyone on this call, we play tons of games, right? So like that extra moments, those little moments of wow can start from the very beginning. So like a magnetic box, a glow in the dark piece in the back. I mean, that's just a colorful tube for a dice game that's on Kickstarter right now. Like these little moments of wow, like could just elevate your game experience all the way through. I mean, hopefully the game's great inside too, but like from a product point of view, like it starts right from the beginning. So I mean, I love those like little things. And I mean, you're showing off like Wonderland's War too. Like that's something Skybound does super well too. Like it just you feel the care all the way through the product.
For sure.
So it's just great.
Love it. So, love it.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, Chicken is on Kickstarter from Keymaster Games. You're going to be able to check that out. I've dropped the link in here a couple times. You definitely want to grab a copy of this game. It is a lot of fun. The whole family can play it. It's fantastic. Carpenter Collective has done the artwork, and you see Scott's name there at the bottom.
Love it.
It's such a good game, and it's definitely one that is going to travel with us during the holidays, unless Keymaster says we need to push it on to another reviewer. And if they do, I'm just going to act like I'm not home. So
Yep.
I think that's how that works. So. But I don't think that's how that works. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. Where can people find you? Where can people find you at, Isaac?
Oh, you can find us at Gaming with Sidekicks on all of the socials, Instagram, Twitter, while it still exists, Facebook, TikTok. Find us over there doing all the TikTok stuff. And again, if I know I say this a lot, if you're not into board game TikTok, you need to get over there. Some of the best stuff is getting done over there. Grant is just killing it over there. So good. He had a video that just hit 1 million and went super viral, hit 1 million views like in the last day for what is that cat one? Boop. So
I like Boop. Boop's cool.
Yeah, it looks fun. So yeah, find us on all the socials. Just go Gaming with Sidekicks. You can find us there.
That's right. Head over to oneboardfamily.com. That's where we put all our stuff. We can be found all over the internet at One Board Family. Don't do much on TikTok, but we're there. Just published a full review for Get On Board. It's a route building game that my wife doesn't hate. So that's pretty cool because I love route building games, and I've got like 4 or 5 that she won't play with me because she doesn't like it, and she'll play this one. So
it's a good game.
That. Yeah, it's a real good.
Also, we just published an article on games you might like if you enjoy the Marvel app Snap. So check that out. That's the hotness.
If you're playing 4 or 5 hours of Marvel Snap on your phone like we are,
14.
Head over. What'd you say?
What's
13?
that?
13?
I don't want to talk
Do you
about it,
work
Ryan.
anymore?
I don't want to talk about it.
Did you tell your wife that you quit your job?
She doesn't watch. She doesn't watch this show. It's fine.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I play a lot.
After the show, I'll tell both of you guys my wife's app addiction that just happened over the weekend. So trying to keep that one secret. So she's addicted to a game on her phone, which is a lot of fun because now I'm addicted to Marvel Snap. So now we both have issues.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
It's good stuff. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us, Scott. And you guys have a great night.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a good night, guys.